Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're giving you another round of fantasy football wide receiver sleepers. We'll show you how to win your league by winning your draft. Let's get this fantasy football podcast started right meow.
Hey everyone, you have found the fantasy football upside. I am Justin, that is Kyle. Thanks for dropping by our fantasy football podcast and YouTube channel. We appreciate it. We are back again with another week of some great content. Yesterday, we gave you our second edition of our running back sleepers, and that means today we're going to give you our second edition of our wide receiver sleepers.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to give you the guys that you should target in the middle to later rounds of your draft that should hit and make you look like a fantasy football genius.
You'll only look like one. You won't be
Only
one.
look like one.
No, yeah,
Only
course.
look like it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Hey, you know what? We've got the Victory Draft Kit out now. It's $10. You sign up for that thing. You get a copy of it right away. Yeah, it's 10 doll hairs. You sign up for that and you'll get it right away. We're going to update every edition. You'll get it. After we update it, we'll send you a new copy, new edition, and everything with all the new updated information. And that's as information changes. We're reworking our rankings and all kinds of other information and dropping that right in there so that it's set up for you nicely and you can drag that thing with you to your draft and dominate your draft, right? So you can find that at ffbupside.com, or you can just, if you're watching this on a computer, you can just scan this QR code that I just tossed right here, right
there,
and you'll be able to. It'll take you right to right there. It's over here.
My camera's flipped. I swear.
Yeah. But it'll take you right to the Victory Draft Kit right there, and you'll be able to see everything that's contained in there. I'm not going to bore you with the details, but feel free to check it out at least. And if you're interested, it's just 2 cups of coffee. All right, Justin, let's dive in headfirst into the shallow end as per usual, because we are fantasy football geniuses, right? All right, and wide receiver.
Can't point, but I can give you some fantasy football knowledge.
All right, here we go. Number 1 wide receiver. What we got?
I got Corey Davis, New York Jets. He's going 8th pick in the 12th round. He's the 53rd wide receiver off the board, Kyle. And that's pretty crazy because Davis very well could be the number 1 wide receiver on the Jets. I mean, they paid him like one. They gave him a 3-year, $37.5 million contract. I'm going to guess they're going to want to get him the ball to prove that that contract was worthy. So, the thing I look at it, negative game script, which means actually great for fantasy football because I think the Jets are going to be playing from behind quite a bit this year. So it should mean quite a few targets for Corey Davis.
This year?
And also this year.
Okay.
What did I say?
No, I was just wondering if I didn't know we needed to clarify that it's this year.
It's this year.
It's every year.
Every year. Well, yeah, you know what? It happens. But you know what? I've liked what I've seen out of the rookie quarterback, Zach Wilson, just some of the stuff I've seen in practice and everything. The guy can launch the ball down the field and on the run. So I think that's going to be really good for a guy like, a veteran like Corey Davis, who is going to find ways to get open for his quarterback. And I say veteran, the guy's still only 26 years old. So he was the number 5 pick just a few years ago. So he has the athletic ability. And he did finally put it together last year, and he got paid for it. So, when it comes to the wide receiver room at New York Jets, Denzel Mims, 2nd-round pick last year, he's running with the 3rd team, Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
They drafted rookie Elijah Moore this year. People are buzzing about him around camp and everything like that. But, why would they do that and yet rework Jamison Crowder's contract to keep him there? And it's kind of, they're kind of hurting each other's value.
Yeah.
Another guy, Keelan Cole, was brought in on a 1-year deal. He's shown some chemistry, but I think he's going to be playing on the other side of Corey Davis. And then that's where Jamison Crowder and Elijah Moore will be right there in the slot. So I just think at this value to potentially get the number 1 wide receiver on the roster, it's like, why not at that point?
Yeah, I mean, the worst that you're going to get out of that is a wide receiver 3, in my mind. I mean, so yeah. The question is just going to be consistency. So
for sure.
I mean, yeah. So you can check out our power rankings on our website, and you'll see as the season goes along, you'll see us update and demonstrate whether or not these people are consistent and to what extent they're consistent in a valuable manner, right? All right, so is that all you got for him?
Yeah, sorry, I was chuckling because I was thinking of our friend Keenan Allen when it comes to consistency. Like someone Someone likes to mention that he's very
consistent,
consistent, and then when you actually, look at the numbers, it's
no.
No.
He's consistent on a season over season basis. Yeah.
Yes.
But for fantasy football, that's useless information. If you go on a week over week, the dude's a roller coaster if you're lucky. So, all right. So here we go.
What you got?
Number 2, I got Jalen Reagor. His ADP right now is 8th pick of the 15th round, 68th wide receiver off the board. I'm looking at this. I'm like, why is this dude being forgotten entirely? Like entirely.
Wow.
I do understand why you would push him back in your rankings a little bit, but undraftable? I mean, because that's what this is. He's undraftable. You're saying he's a wide receiver 5 or 6, right? That's pretty bad. Look, he was the 21st pick of the 2020 draft. Had a terrible QB/coach situation with injuries everywhere last year, including to himself early in the year. And that was on like a 55-yard bomb that he caught, and he got a broken hand out of the deal. So look, here's some concerns, right? He failed his conditioning test coming into training camp already. And he'd say, well, that's not a good thing, right? I mean, that's a really bad thing, except that one of his childhood friends was killed right before he took the test. And so they said he's not mentally in the right spot, as well as the physicality of it. And look, if you're scared off by Reagor failing that physical test, that conditioning test, then don't draft Goddard, right? Don't draft Dallas Goedert, because he also failed that test, but he doesn't have an excuse for failing that test. So, he's still being drafted as though that didn't occur. And I think that's just not appropriate. Then you add in Devontae Smith. This is the reason, Justin. This is the reason that he's fallen down draft boards, is Devontae Smith. But the dude's as thick as a broomstick, right? I mean, he was 6'1", 6'2", I think, 170 pounds.
Soaking wet, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, come on. You've got, I think you've got with Jalen Reagor a straight line to targets if he can stay healthy. I really do. I think you've got a bunch of targets coming his way. Devontae Smith is already showing a lower leg injury during camp, and his teammates aren't even trying to hurt him, right? So, I mean, I remember when he got drafted, and I looked at it, and I was like, what? I mean, I'm bigger than that guy. I'm probably sturdier relative to the NFL than that guy's legs are, because he looks bad. It looks rough.
Right.
And I don't know how you can graduate at college at 170 pounds heading to the NFL. It blows my mind. Right. It blows my mind. I mean, how's he not in the weight room more often? So
he makes Deshaun Jackson look big.
Yeah. So it's a concern, but I think that it's good for Reagor, and I think he's not necessarily this coach's guy, but come on, he's a big talent, and I think that he showed flashes of ability last year. He was hampered by a hand injury, and so of course he was going to have some problems. And the line couldn't block for anything, which just made Wentz's day terrible. And then the coach Peterson wasn't calling anything worth being called. It just wasn't a good situation all around. So I think it's a good value. And I mean, come on. 15th round, middle of the 15th round.
That's value, folks.
That's value. All right, here we go. Third wide receiver, Justin.
All right, Laviska Shenault Jr., Jacksonville Jags. He's going first pick in the 11th round, 46th wide receiver off the board. I still can't believe that when I was looking this up. 46th wide receiver off the board.
Yeah, that blows my mind.
Yeah. I mean, DJ Chark had a considerable regression last year. And talk of the camp this year, it's been all Shenault.
He's the wide receiver 1 there, man. He's the wide receiver 1.
Everybody's been saying he's the best player on the field. This is a high upside pick, and there is some congestion in the wide receiver room and even the running back room, and I'll explain a little bit. But Marvin Jones was signed. I believe he got like a couple-year deal, but Marvin Jones is also pushing 30, 31. He didn't really have that burst that I saw when he was with Detroit last year. Travis Etienne was drafted in the first round this year, and they want to play him in the slot a little bit, so I could take a little bit from him, but this is a guy that they're going to want to try to get the ball in his hands as much as possible when it comes to Shenault. And the guy's a rack machine, a run after catch machine. He's built in the same mold of A.J. Brown. I mean, he's 6'1", 227, and he's just thickly built. So he'll get a few carries as well, but truthfully, man, you just throw him a couple screens and let him just bust it out there. I mean, he's got breakaway, and it's one of the things where Urban's going to be forced to get the ball in his hands And this is going his second year as well. We love second-year wide receivers. So, I think this is the best playmaker on the Jags, and I think this is insane value. First pick in the 11th round. I like Shenault. I'm going to have quite a few shares of Shenault this year.
Yeah, I think that he's so undervalued right now. It's ridiculous.
So undervalued,
I don't really get it. I mean,
because he plays for the Jags. I mean, that's...
Yeah, but if Trevor Lawrence comes out and does what Justin Herbert did last year, and I don't see him not being able to do that, other than Urban Meyer maybe is the problem, but which is quite likely, right? But if that's the case, then how does Laviska Shenault not benefit, right? He has to benefit then. Right. So I think that's a huge pickup. So, yeah. All right. What you got? I got, where is it? Here we go. All right. We've got Mecole Hardman. That's right. He is coming in at the first pick of the 12th round, 55th wide receiver off the board. I mean, I don't get that. It doesn't make any sense. He is set to be the wide receiver 2 in an offense that includes Tyreek Hill. And look, he's essentially wide receiver 3 because Travis Kelce, if we're being honest with ourselves, is a wide receiver at this point. So do we trust Kansas City's made the right decision here with Hardman? I mean, they've moved everybody else out of his way. He is now wide receiver 2 on this team. He's entering his 3rd year, I think. And so do we trust Andy Reid to have figured it out? I don't know. Are we ready to have our hearts broken again? Probably. He's never.
That's fantasy football, baby.
That's fantasy football. He's never broken 560 yards. I've got 575 written down here as a catch-all, but he's never broken. I think it was 560 was his top. And his catch total went in reverse last season, so that's concerning. But what has changed for him is that Sammy Watkins is now gone. All right, so he has a clear path to an opportunity in an offense like this for the first time in his career. They're not going to be forcing him to do all the returns and everything all the time. And I think that he's going to occupy the Sammy Watkins role, which is on the field all the time. He's no longer splitting opportunities with, is it Demarcus Robinson and who's the other one? Byron Pringle. I don't think he's going to be splitting with those guys in the way that Watkins didn't have to split with those guys. I think that Mecole Hardman's going to be doing that. And so I think that, 12th round, you're getting a wide receiver 2 on one of the most high-powered offenses in the league.
Right.
That clearly wants to throw the ball all the time if they can, and they love the wide receiver screen. And he's one of the fastest guys in the league.
Yes.
So why not? I mean, geez, 12th round, take a shot at that kind of value, I think.
Take a shot.
Take a shot. Just do it,
See how it feels.
Yeah.
Don't be that guy.
No. All right, Justin, here we go. What do we got here for our 5th wide receiver?
All right, this is going to be kind of in line with, the Jets, sleeper pick that I chose with Corey Davis because it's, it's a tough offense, but it's Amon-Ra St. Brown of the Detroit Lions. He's going 3rd pick in the 15th round, 69th wide receiver off the board. This is kind of a deep dart throw on this rookie out of USC who played mainly in the slot, and that is where he's projected to play for with the Lions as well. I think the Detroit Lions are going to want to get the ball out of Jared Goff's hands as quickly as possible. And the thing is Jared Goff has shown that he can produce some fantasy football players from players playing in the slot. I think of my little Cooper Kupp. I think of Robert Woods. They both played outside. They both played in the slot. They were both interchangeable. Amon-Ra St. Brown is not going to wow you athletically, but he's always found a way to get open. That's what he did at USC. And if he could get that to translate to the NFL, then Goff will look his way early and often. This is one of those things where I'm not just making this stuff up. There's a lot of talk to saying that he may lead this team in targets right there with Hawkinson just because of the position he plays and what Jared Goff has done in the past. And that's the thing. He's going to have to lead them in targets to really become fantasy relevant because I don't think he's going to be a guy that's going to produce that much rack. He's not a huge guy, so it may not be the huge touchdown producer, but especially in a PPR league, this could be a really good dart throw at the very end of your draft that people just don't know about.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I've seen Equanimous St. Brown play enough that I'm just turned off completely to that whole family. They think that they're the what is it, LeVar Ball's like dad.
Aw.
They think they're like that family actually.
Really?
That's what their goal is to be. So they're more concerned with appearance in my mind, and so I'm just kind of like, yeah, it's the Lions, so have at it. Go, feel free to do that. But I do see the point about him being wide receiver 1 on Detroit. It's just not an offense that I want much of a part of. Like, I'm even off of DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams because I think that there's not much value there in the end.
No, I totally understand. That's why he's being drafted very, very, very late.
Yeah.
And it's also one of those things where, with the target volume, that's where you could get a little bit of consistency. Mm-hmm. That's why I was kind of tossing up some ideas maybe on the outside, but you're hoping for a couple catches and going large for a guy like Rashard Perriman that's on the roster or Tyrell Williams. That's just not consistency.
Yeah,
this could be at least a little bit.
I think that maybe next year he could have some real redraft value. It's possible.
Yeah,
it's possible. So
it's possible.
It's possible. I'm not going to say no. All right, here we go. Last wide receiver we've got Gabriel Davis of Buffalo. He is going as the first pick of the 14th round on average, 59th wide receiver off the board. We went a lot deeper this time round on the wide receivers, I think we did overall. He had the looks of a breakout during the 2021 season a little bit, or it at least looked like a candidate for a breakout this year. And then the Bills went and picked up Emmanuel Sanders. So there you go, right? But here's my thought on Sanders. And I think he's going to function more as a slot guy. That's what he was always, and it's what he's been best at. It's only been in like his last 2 stops that they tried to push him to the outside and see what he could do for them. And that was, I think, in those offenses more of necessity than it was a reality of what his capabilities truly were, which was that he's a great possession receiver that just catches everything, gobbles it up, right? I think Gabriel Davis is a lot faster, a lot better outside wide receiver. And so I think that he will end up outside opposite of Diggs, and that Sanders is going to end up in the slot for the most part when they go into 3 wide sets. Sanders is 34. He's on his 4th team in 4 years. So Gabriel Davis, to me, has a lot of value, I think. Look, to me, this is another guy that you got to keep an eye on during the preseason to get a sense of how they might be figuring on using him. It's almost better if he really doesn't get a whole lot of play during the preseason, in my mind. And here is why. Because then they're just trying to be protective, right? They know their passing game is very, very big on that team. I mean, it's so big that we literally do not have either of their running backs as draftable. Like, they're not trash. They're just not going to have a whole lot of value for you. They're not going
to have the carries.
Yeah. I mean, what carries they will get are going to be from the 20 to the 20. And then anytime they rush it in, I mean, I think that they set a high water. Yeah, I think they set a high water mark of 4 between, like, one of them had 4 rushing touchdowns, whereas Josh Allen, I think, had 9 or something. 8 or 9.
Like 8 or 9.
He's like averaging 8 or 9. Yeah. So to me, it's the passing game. And so if he's not showing up in the preseason because they're keeping him on the sideline, that says to me that he is more important to their offense and that they're just trying to find out what the rest of the guys are going to be able to do. I think you have to really look at it and evaluate it, make sure that's what's going on. But I think that's possible, or if that does occur, that's a good sign, actually. So I think in the end, Josh Allen can only be the beast that most people think he's going to be this year. If he has more than one functional wide receiver target. And Diggs, he's not going to get all the 4,000 plus passing yards that Allen's going to put up this year, right? He's just not going to. So I would say that Gabriel Davis is in line for a 1,000-yard season potentially. And I don't see why he's being drafted in the 14th round when he has that potential.
Yeah.
I don't get it. People are sleeping on Buffalo,
I hear you.
Soon to be Austin, Texas. So I don't know if you saw that. Oh yeah, they're threatening to move to Austin, Texas. They threatened to move to San Antonio, I think, as well. And San Antonio's like, no, we're not interested.
I really like Gabriel Davis, though, man. I just got to jump in real quick. I mean, the guy's a touchdown machine.
Second-year guy.
Yeah, second-year guy. Would love it. A second-year guy, and he's going to be 22 all season long. I mean, that's another thing. The guy's still young. He's still, figuring out how to play wide receiver.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he produced
he's
at
fast
UCF.
Too.
And he's fast.
Yeah.
And he's explosive. I was just looking over some of his combine numbers. So I like Gabriel Davis a lot. He did pop on the stream whenever he got the opportunity last year. I mean, he had 7 touchdowns last year.
Yeah.
Sneaky 7.
Yeah, I tried as hard as I
Buffalo.
could. I tried to hold on to him, I think, last year. And I don't think I could keep him on my roster in our league. Just needed moves and stuff. And he ended up not on my roster, I believe. And so, yeah, it makes me kind of sad because I think the dude's in line for a really solid season. I think if you grab this dude in the 14th round, 13th round, in that range, you're getting a wide receiver 3 probably for the season.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit better, high-end wide receiver 3, back-end wide receiver 2. Like, as far as, like, fantasy football goes, that's pretty darn good. All right, guys.
Good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. All right, guys. That's going to do it for our sleepers this time around. So that's, what is it? That was wide receiver sleepers. Next time that you talk to us, we're going to be talking, I think, about middle round league winners. Guys who are going to. League winners. Guys who are being underdrafted in the middle of the draft, but have the potential to just blow up, or they're going to be solid enough and even enough that it's going to help your team have a baseline scoring potential for it. So that's what we're going to be talking about the next, I think, 2 episodes, right?
Yes.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for Sleepers. We'll see you next time. Have fun. Bye.
See ya.